Well, we asked for goals and the football gods certainly listened. It was an epic weekend in the Betway Premiership, unless you are, of course, a Kaizer Chiefs fan. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Betway Premiership Review Show. From party poopers to the soaring Sekhukhune United, the Betway Premiership had it all this weekend. And if you missed a moment of the magic or you just want to relive the action, then you've certainly come to the right place. And joining me in studio today, as always, to select our best performers of the weekend is our dynamic duo. First up, it is Mazola Mulife, a jack of all trades who is certainly a master of all. Our super journo is a writer, a broadcaster and a singer. You might have bribed me a little to put in that last part. Mazola, it's what? Sing for us. You're a singer now.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the dance. That's definitely the dance. But Mazola, looking at Betway Prem action from this weekend, just overall, your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, top of the show, the football gods answered because, last week, we were here, heavy lifting, but a lot better this week. Some goals, even in the rain. And Andy Boyeli, well, one to watch for the rest of the season for sure out at Sekhukhune United.
We will be keeping our eyes on him. And Mazola speaks about even in the rain, because at least no one had to swim on the football pitch this time around. We also have Grant Bissett, our brilliant statistician and tactician who dissects and delivers the action for you from the commentator's booth. Grant, your thoughts, high level?
No special compliments for my singing.
I didn't know you sing.
No, I don't. You know what?
Neither does he.
You look at all the close results and you think, okay, it's another weekend barring one game where we didn't get that many goals. But in contrast to last weekend, we just felt blessed. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and we will unpack it all for you right here on the Betway Prem Review Show. We begin our proceedings in Archridgeville, where Sekhukhune United were the big winners this weekend, stunning SuperSport in their own backyard. If you missed it, this is what went down.
It's back to school month and class was in session for the players of SuperSport United. Gavin Hunt's men were given a proper footballing lesson by Sekhukhune at Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium on Sunday evening. And the man in charge of that lesson, Andy Bobwa Boyeli, who inspired Babina Nuku's 3-0 victory. After a lackluster first half, Sekhukhune came out for the second period with renewed vigour as Boyeli netted a hat-trick to inflict pain on 10-man SuperSport. The Congolese striker went into the game with just 2 goals to his name this season. But in just 24 second-half minutes, his hat-trick moved him to within just 1 goal of the Betway Premiership top scorer, Ikram Reyners of Mamelodi Sundowns. Boyeli became the second player this season to bag a hat-trick after Orlando Pirates striker Tshegofatso Mabasa.
Gentlemen, Sekhukhune SuperSport, certainly in this encounter, the striker picked himself hands down.
For sure.
Come on.
For sure.
It's the easiest decision we've had to make so far.
Yeah, it was coming. This guy was top goal scorer in Zambia just before his move to Sekhukhune United. It takes a while for a striker to adapt, especially in a different environment, different conditions. And I tell you what, maybe I might be getting ahead of myself, but he can play catch up to the Leslie Manyatela Golden Boot to this Andy Boyeli. He's that.
No, but I mean, if you just look at all the obligations that some of the top strikers have, and they might not play every Betway Premiership game, whereas Andy Boyeli is likely to feature whenever he's available. Mazola's right. He took a while. In fact, he didn't take a while to get off the mark. He got off the mark in his debut, and then the drought just stretched. But finally, it seems like he's just starting to develop that understanding.
And he'll go.
That's what I'm saying. The second was the second, right? The clever little finish you're starting to see. And that's the thing with Sekhukhune. They recruit so cleverly outside of our borders, and sometimes the players take a little longer. Like Treso Yamba, he's coming into his own after a season or two of bedding in. But yeah, it's happening a bit faster. And I agree. I think that he's going to be putting pressure on those guys at the top.
Oh, we love to hear it. It's good for South African football and the Betway Premiership. Let's then go to our picks, and we'll start at the back with the goalkeepers. Grant, you've obviously, with the two goalkeepers in the game, reduced it down to Badra Sangare and Tagasani Badra.
So yeah, easier to pick the goalkeeper than the striker. They were both easy, but you can't pick against Badra Sangare, and not just because Takasani conceded so many goals. He made a fair few saves as well. So yeah,
SuperSport with some sitters as well. He saved a few as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we go there with Badra Sangare as our goalkeeper in this encounter. Moving on then into the defenders, where we've got Vuyo Litlaba as well as Daniel Cardoso. You narrowed down to this top two in terms of defenders. Talk us through it, Mazo.
Yeah, well, of course, Daniel Cardoso, captain, fantastic leader in that defense, but Vuyo Litlaba, coming out of nowhere pretty much, and to being a regular now in that Sekhukhune United team, and 2 assists, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. Bombs forward, can defend. You know, he's almost a complete player, and I think he'll grow under Leshonono Siema in that team. And, you know, as much as Cardoso impressed me with his leadership, marshalling the back four, Vuyo Litlaba bombarding forward, helping Andy Boyeli get those goals. Vuyo for me.
All right, there we go. Vuyo gets the nod from the Super Journo, the man that sings us into the show with a beautiful note. All right, Grant, let's then look at the midfielders in this clash. You've reduced it down to 2, Relebogile as well as Katlego Mkabela.
Yeah, it was obviously hard to pick any SuperSport players to even make the nominees. Ndlovu tried, he was buzzing all game. But Kabela, a lovely combative display there in the middle of the park for Sekhukhune. But the man that stood out head and shoulders above the rest in the middle of the park was Mugwane. Just controlled the game really well.
Morris almost took him out there.
Yeah, yes. So it was good to see that he was able to continue after that. And things obviously got easier from that point onwards for Sekhukhune, and maybe didn't have as much work to do. But just a great all-round performance from Mugwane. Yeah, easy pick for me, this one.
An easy pick. He gets the nod. He's our midfielder in this clash. And on any other week, we'll speak of Akeletso Maghalwa and we'll be like, oh, amazing stuff, the things he does on the field of play. But this time around, he has to go up against Andy Boyeli.
Yeah. I mean, we already punted him up in the beginning, in this Andy Boyeli. Obvious pick, scoring a hat-trick on the back of, I think, the second player this season after Tekhomatso in
for Gallants,
victory for Pirates against Gallants. Like I said, Andy Boyeli, I expect a few more. We're only, 12 games in, not even at the halfway point. And I expect Andy to add to that tally that he has at the moment. So Andy Boyeli for me, obvious.
Let's then narrow it down for you and just give you our top 4 in this encounter, where it was Sekhukhune United away to SuperSport United, securing a 3-0 victory. In goals, we've got Badra Sangare. Moving on into defense, we've got Vuyo Litlaba. In the midfield, we've got Relebogile Mugwane, as well as finally up front, the man with the brace in this clash, Andy Boyeli. Now, Saturday's games produced 1-0 wins for Maruma Gallants as well as AmaZulu. Dan Malisela's Maruma Gallants shocked the citizens, who went into the game on the back of consecutive victories over the Soweto Giants. Grant, who are your chosen players in this Maruma Gallants Cape Town City clash? Quick fire.
Yeah, Washington Arubi, the goalkeeper. For the clean sheet, neither goalkeeper had much to do, 2 saves apiece. It's the defense where I want to actually identify probably the best player on the park, and he's my pick at centre half, Marvin Skosana. I know you've asked me to go quick fire, but I wanted to give you this. He's played 7 games this season. Think about Maruma Gallants and the goals they've conceded. In the games he's started, they've kept 4 clean sheets. In the other 3 games he's played, they've only conceded 1 in each of those games. Outstanding, just commanding performance at the back. Ike Manaka for an all-round display, but sticking away the crucial penalty. And then up front, I've resisted the urge to just go with the man of the match because he was the man of the match. I think maybe Gabo won it because he won the penalty, but I'm more inclined to go with Nemtajela, who's playing in that 10 role. He came closest from open play, hitting the crossbar, and just a nice energetic performance from him.
Now, my guess, you remain rooted right at the foot of the table after they lost to Usuthu Olumape Shangone. Mazola, who caught your eye in this one?
Nobody.
Who can... You see, you are a singer.
But I am under pressure here to give you a couple of names. So I'll throw a couple of names in your direction. Veli Motwa, obviously clean sheet, but he had very little to do. Kwandam Gonyama, and from what I could tell and what I'm being told by some people at Amazulu who are watching the game, they were impressed with him too in a dull fixture. So I'll give it to Kwanda there. Bongani Zungu gets the winning goal on his full debut for Amazulu.
For the story.
It's not a retirement village. Which was lovely to see as well, because a lot had been said about Amazulu. Oh, that's where players are now going to retire. To see a Bongani Zungu come onto the pitch and actually make a difference for
Only the second goal
great.
he's got since arriving back in South Africa. The first one he scored was against Amazulu, so maybe that's why
he's paying them back.
We need them.
Poetic.
Yeah.
And for the forwards, nobody.
Nobody impressed the Super Journo in that encounter. Of course, it was Makesi FC going up against Amazulu. All right. Now we go back to Sunday out at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Amakosi started the week well, celebrating their 55th birthday and beating Stellenbosch FC by 2-1. So they arrived in Durban ready to cap off a fantastic week. But Abafana Bestende did not read the scripts.
Kaizer Chiefs' results this season resemble the up and down motion of a yo-yo. For the supporters, having to deal with this turbulence must be a big no-no because the results are so-so. The 1 week they're up and the next they're down. That's the story of their season so far. Just a few days after their 2-1 victory over Stellenbosch, Amakosi had the opportunity to make it back-to-back wins for the first time since September. But they succumbed to their 5th defeat of the campaign against Golden Arrows at Moses Mabhida on Sunday afternoon. Arrows captain Gladwin Sitolo made Amakosi pay for not being clinical in front of goal. The 35-year-old netted the game's only strike just before the hour mark, his first of the season. It was a first victory for Arrows co-coaching duo of Musa Bilankulu and Kagiso Dikashwi, who have collected 4 points in their first 2 matches of 2025. They've got good reason to believe that this year will be their year to thrive.
Now, Golden Arrows and Kaizer Chiefs lit up a gloomy Durban on Sunday. Now, who makes the cut from this encounter? Guys, I need you to give me all the juice here. We want the juice.
I mean, there's a clear standout player, and it's the name on the score sheet. And it's not just because he's the name on the score sheet. It was sensational, and that's Gladwin Sitolo. It kind of makes our defensive pick a little easier, although across the Arrows backline there were other players who performed well. Of Emma Pele on the left back for now 2nd week running, I think, as a player who's really starting to show that they can produce quality consistently. Around the rest of the park, barring Sitolo, it's a little harder to determine who was really raising their hand, especially once you start to get into the forwards. But we can't forget that this game was badly hampered by just the pitch was so soggy. The ball was not moving how the players anticipated, and lots of them struggled. The only player I don't think struggled,
Didn't struggle as much as the others,
or maybe got to terms with the playing conditions quickest, was Ndwandwe. Of course. So I don't know who Mazole is going to pick between Ndwandwe and Sabia, but I just wanted to make a case for what I saw. I was doing that game, and what I saw from Ndwandwe. Players were playing a lot of passes short. It was not putting enough. He had the best passing accuracy on the field, is moving it around sensationally. And then I picked up a little stat that over the course of this entire season, the number of interceptions he got in this game was 2nd of the whole campaign, every match that's been played. Again, just understanding the surface, understanding the passes of the opposition, where to cut them out, where you might have an opportunity to pounce. Fantastic game in the midfield, but again, that pick is not on me.
Okay, Masale, let's go straight into that pick for you, because you.
if Ndwandwe's agent is looking for just a summary of how to sell the player, look no further than Mr. Grant Bissett here to give you a lowdown. I mean, after that I can't go against what the man is saying. You know, he was on the ground, he did the match, and he broke it down nicely. And of course, a little bit biased there because this is one of his favorite players.
Oh, we've seen you do the same with Rama. It's okay.
But he's been deserving, and I would say Willemseni also deserving here. So I wouldn't go against
Mr. Bissett, the
and also
statistician.
the consistency as well. So
Yeah.
It's an easy pick for me.
Easy pick it is Willemseni Ndwandwe that gets the nod there in terms of the midfielders in this clash. Let's then go into the forwards, Grant, because you've narrowed down here to Wandile Duba as well as Usianta Mtandi.
Yeah, there seems to be this thing in the Chiefs front line is that only one player will come to the party, week on week, whether that's in Shabalala. This week it happens to be Wandile Duba, not saying, he really produced his best, but it was tough to pick just in the forward department across both teams. I'm gone with Siana Mtandi versus Duba. Between the two of them, they actually create more chances than the rest of the players on the park combined over the course of the match. So that should tell you a lot. There's just not really anyone who's capitalizing in either instance. And it's much of a muchness here. I'm going to just lean towards Sianda simply because he ends up on the winning team. But there's really...
And to be fair, there's a lot of buzz about Sianda, especially from the KZN club officials and everybody in that part of the world about his potential and what he could do. Maybe if he moves to a more resourced team, so to speak. But it will be interesting how he finishes.
His ceiling is very high.
Off the rest of the Betway Premiership. But yeah, I would agree with Grant that in a difficult game to make picks with the forwards, Sianda impressed, especially in that 10 role. If he at times when he drops to that 10 role or whether he helps out in attack, they are looking for a forward to assist Ryan Moon with a couple of injuries in the team, but Sianda could have a blind out the rest of the season.
When the Super Journal calls it, who can disagree? All right, let's then move on, Grant, and take a look at the goalkeepers then in this clash. We've got our Tenga up against Vuma.
It's the easiest pick to make.
He kept a clean sheet last season, last week.
Let me actually give this to you, Mazol.
Yeah. I think like what Grant is saying, easy pick. Not much in it, but because of his clean sheet, and Chiefs were so poor in attack. And there's a video circulating on social media of they'd use a cartoon music of just how poor the Chiefs strikers were whenever they got an opportunity to face Watenga. They made his job super easy. But, when he was called upon here and there, he kept arrows in the game. But I'll go...
And also just to kind of add on that, because I 100% agree. And you were saying how he had kept the clean sheet, and I think the week before that as well. And that's after coming in for Maova, who had started the season and, played all their first however many games it was. So it's only recently that he's just made the starting lineup for this season. And they're yet to find a reason to drop him, and there hasn't been any.
Let's then give you a quick recap of what it's looking like at the moment. And just to remind you, we're not going to have 16 players because Mazola decided to not give us strikers in that Magesi Amazulu encounter. So basically, in goals at this moment, we've got Vedi Motwa, we've got Washington Arubi, we've got Ismail Watenga, and we've also got Badra Sangare. When we move then into the defenders, we've got Gwanda Mgomezulu, Mgonyama, we've got Marvin Kosana, we've got Gladwin Shitolo, as well as Uvuyo Litlapa. Moving on into the midfielders, Aikukile Material, we've got Bongani Zungu, and then we've got Edgar Manaka, then we've got Willemseni Ndwandwe, and finally wrapping that up, we've got Renabohila Mukwane. And in the forwards, in the Mazulu game, we have absolutely no one. Nobody. That's how you said it. But we do have Umasindi Nemtajela coming through in terms of the forwards. We've also got Usianda Mtandi, and finally the man with a hat-trick this week out in the Betway Premiership, that is Andy Boyeli. Okay, so now it's time for us to choose our weekend special. But let's mix it up a little bit today and start with the coach that will be leading our weekend special team. Gentlemen.
Thanks for the curveball.
I think it's easy. It's a curveball, but I think...
Mara, you said, ooh.
No, just because we weren't expecting you to ask us.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's easy.
Yeah.
To go up against 4-time title-winning coach Kevin Hunt. In as much as he's complained about injuries and players' unavailability, he is still Kevin Hunt.
Yes.
And Sekhukhune United goes there and, gets...
And up until recently, they had struggled on the road.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, it seems like they turned that around and they're building on a little bit of decent away form. So I definitely agree with that, Vic.
All right. So we do have the Sekhukhune United, the comeback kid, because we do know it did end and then it started again. Okay, Sekhukhune United is the man that will be leading our weekend special team. Let's start first with our goalkeepers. We've got Veli Moatwa, Washington Arubi, Ismail Watenga, as well as Badra Sangare.
I think, and it's just off the top of my head, but I think across games where none of the goalkeepers do all too much, even the ones that are on the winning side, the ones that keep clean sheets, I think it's Sangare who actually does the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would agree. Sangare.
Badra Sangare is the man that gets the nod from our dynamic duo in studio. All right, let's then move on into defense. Everyone makes it. Look at that. So our defenders.
Wow, that was easy.
So our defenders for this week, let me just confirm for our viewers. We've got Ukwanda Ngonyama, Marvin Skosana, Gladwin Shitolo, as well as Vuyo Letlapa. They all make it into the team. Let's then move on into our midfielders, where we are going to have to drop
Sure.
one. Okay, we've got Bongani Zungu, Edgar Manaka, Velimseni Ndwandwe, as well as Relebohile Mokwane.
You know, I want to make a case here for
Ndwandwe.
For Ndwandwe, for Mokwane, even for Ekamanaka, because Bongani Zungu, for the story and for how long he had been out and scoring a goal on your comeback, and it's a great goal. The all-round contribution and the fact that we knew he wasn't going to last, and he didn't. I think an hour he lasted.
I love that we knew he wasn't going to last.
Yeah,
but I think that was.
Oh, you're coming with the tea.
I think in terms of all-round performances, the other three gave me more, even though Bongani had perhaps the most crucial moment of all four.
Certainly the most crucial moments.
Yeah, I would agree. Yes, for the story, it would be lovely, but no. If you look at what Edgar did for Gallants, Velimseni's Grant's favorite player, and Mokwane, just Sekhukhune was so good.
Yeah.
Yes, I know they eventually ended up playing against a team that.
But before that,
but even before that, they looked in control. Kevin Hunt would argue different, but they looked in control. They could have even edged it by 1-0 had they stayed equal number of players on the pitch. So I agree. Those three, with Bongani Zungu not making the cut, makes sense for me.
All right, so then that's our confirmation. We've got Relebohile Mokwane, Velimseni Ndwandwe, as well as Edgar Manaka. Unfortunately for Bongani Zungu, he does score the goal that gives AmaZulu that victory, but just not enough for the gentleman here in studio.
But a great start to his AmaZulu career.
For sure.
Okay. He's asking himself, what more must I do other than score a goal and get 3 points? But we'll figure it out as the season goes on. And then when we move on into our forwards, because our super journo absolutely said there was nothing he could do about the strikers here in the Makesi AmaZulu game. Because he's even saying they even had to go get Bongani Zungu to score in this game. There are no strikers. So we then have our top three being Omasindi. We've got Usianda as well as Andy Boyeli.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Andy Boyeli, because the other two, they go straight in.
Go ahead and clone Andy Boyeli.
There we go. That's our front three.
And give us 3 strikers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me then just confirm this for you, what our weekend special team is looking like. Out in goals, we do have Badra Sangare. In terms of our defenders, all of them made the cut this week. We've got Ukwanda Ngonyama, Marvin Skosana, Gladwin Shitolo, as well as Vuyo Letlapa. Moving on into the midfielders, the man that scored the goal for AmaZulu, unfortunately being dropped by our super duo in studio. We do have now Edgar Manaka, Velimseni Ndwandwe, as well as Relebohile Mokwane. That is our 4-3-3. And the 3 strikers that we're going to look to find the back of the net. One of them, hopefully, a hat-trick. Andy Boyeli. No, I'm joking. Andy Boyeli. We've got Siyanda Mtandi. And finally, wrapping up the forwards for us, we've got Umbasindi Nimtajela. And that is what our team is looking like.
And Sekhukhune United.
And Lishafanele Siema is our coach, the man that will be leading the team. Your weekend special. Come on, Grant. Weekend special. Come on, Grant.
It's copyright.
Weekend.
Wabora.
Granty. The vanilla spoiled it for the chocolate. All right. Now we have our coaches picked a team of champions or champs. I think it's a team of champions. Let us know if you agree or disagree with their picks. The Betway Premiership will be back on Friday when the Natal Rich Boys visit the Citizens out in Cape Town. And we'll be back with you next week to wrap up the action. From myself, Uvisiwe Ntokazi Ngobo, as well as our dynamic super duo, Mazola Mulife and Grant Bissett. We'll see you again next week. Until then, God bless.
And go.